This is Mr. Bo from MrBoEnglish.com yet again, and we are very near the end of the quadratics unit in Khan, and we've been going through practice by practice and trying to help you maybe get out of that situation where you're reading the hints on Khan but you can't quite get it and you can't get past it, and you need something a little bit extra. So we're down here at quadratic word problems. And I have another video, which we did before, which is outside of Khan, but talks generally about quadratic word problems. And if you haven't watched it, I encourage you to go back and watch that now. But if you have watched it, I'm just going to give you a very quick review of it. Most quadratic equations that you see, the parabola looks something like this. If you're going to see a word problem about it, it looks something like this, because something is flying, or something is thrown, or a rocket is launched, something like that. We have some product, and the price here versus how many we sell versus the price, maybe, or number of mosquitoes is one that Khan has a lot. Number of mosquitoes based on the temperature, I think it is that problem. So there's really only four points that they're going to ask you about, and number one is the start point. Number two, they'll ask you about a minimum or maximum, and they may ask you at what x is the minimum or the maximum, or they may ask you for the vertex, and you'll want to find at what y is. So, for example, if this is temperature and this is how many mosquitoes, what temperature has the most number of mosquitoes, or what is the maximum number of mosquitoes? And then the fourth thing that they'll ask you about is maybe when we reach zero over here. If we're gonna have a product, and over time the product sells like this and then it drops off, when do we stop making money on the product? Something like that. Or if we throw a ball, when does the ball come down? So those are really the only four. There is another one where they may ask you, what is if we have f of x, what is y when x is 3? And but that's a simple thing. The other four are much more common because they're more difficult. You have to figure out which point they want, where does it start, when time is 0, or when if we produce 0 products, how much money do we make? Something like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so our first problem reads, Antoine stands on a balcony and throws a ball to his dog, who is at ground level. The ball's height in meters above the ground, x seconds after Antoine threw it, is modeled by this equation. What is the height of the ball at the time it is thrown? So in my problem over here, this x-axis is seconds, and the y-axis is height, and they want to know what is the height of the ball at the time it is thrown. It is thrown is passive voice for my Thai students, and it is thrown means don yon. So what is the height of the ball at the time it is thrown? สูงเท่าไหร่ตอนที่โดนโยน ตอนที่ลูกโดนโยน So that's which point do we think that is? And that's the start point. Okay, so that's the start point. And for the start point, we want to find f of 0. Okay, so for the start point, we want to find f of 0. And in this case, it's h. h of 0 is equal to negative 2 x squared plus 4x plus 16, and then this x is going to be 0 squared, and this x is going to be 0, so we are left with 16. So this is the y-intercept, right? And I taught you before, c is the y-intercept. So we're at 16 meters. I need a button. Can I get a button? Thank you. Okay. Next one. The number of mosquitoes in Anchorage, Alaska, in millions of mosquitoes as a function of rainfall in centimeters is modeled by this equation. So now we don't have seconds. Now we have rainfall. We have rain. And over here, we don't have height. Over here, we have mosquitoes. Okay? So, but the same kind of thing. And the question is, how many centimeters of rain will produce the maximum number of mosquitoes? So you see this word, maximum. And maximum tells us we're looking for the vertex. Minimum, if they say minimum, tells us we're looking for the vertex. And it wants to know centimeters of rain. So it wants to know the x value. So it wants to know where the axis is. And so we're going to find the x. And how do we find that? You'll remember that from our last video. If we use our quadratic formula, x is equal to negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And if we get rid of this plus or minus part, we end up with the axis of symmetry, because then there's the plus and then there's the minus. We get rid of the plus and the minus, we get the axis of symmetry. So axis of symmetry is negative b over 2a, and so that's negative 14 over negative 2, or 7. So 7 centimeters of rain gives us the maximum number of mosquitoes. All right. Antoine stands on a balcony and throws a ball to his dog, who is at ground level. The ball's height is blah, blah, blah. How many seconds after being thrown will the ball hit the ground? Hit the ground, chongapun. So they want this endpoint, they want this 0. So we want to find a 0. And in order to find zeros, we can use our quadratic formula. Negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And let's see, this is already in standard form, so b is, let's see, a is negative 2 and b is 4 and c is 16. So I've got negative 4 plus or minus square root of 16 minus 4 times negative 2 times 16 all over 2 times negative 2. So that gives me negative 4 plus or minus square root of, let's see, I got 16 times 6. These negatives cancel. So 16 times 6 is 96, plus 16 is 112. Is that right? 2. Oh, it's not right. Okay, so this is a 2, 4, 2, 8. 8 times 16 is 128, plus 16 is 144. There we go. Okay, divided by 2a divided by negative 4. So now I've got square root of 144 is 12. So I've got negative 4 plus or minus 12 divided by negative 4. So I've got negative 16. That's not right. I've got, yes, that is right. Negative 16 divided by negative 4. Or I've got 8 divided by negative 4. So this is negative 2, and then this one is 4. So how many seconds after being thrown will the ball hit the ground? Well, it's not going to hit the ground at negative 2 seconds. It's going to hit the ground at 4 seconds. And our last one here. A certain company's main source of income is selling cloth bracelets. The company's annual profit in thousands of dollars as a function of the price of a bracelet in dollars is modeled by this. What is the maximum profit? So again, we have this line, and it's going to look something like here. So they want maximum, so we know that they're looking for the vertex. But we need to know, are they looking for the x value or are they looking for the y value? Okay, and our annual profit, this is profit, is modeled as a p of x, and x is price, and p is profit. So it wants to know profit, it wants to know the y, it wants to know y1. So we're going to need to find x1 first, and then substitute and find y1. So we know that, let's see, negative 2x squared plus 16x minus 24. I know that a is negative 2, I know that b is 16, and I know that c is negative 24. But we don't need c for this part, because we really just want to find the axis of symmetry. And what is that? So x1 is equal to negative b over 2a. And if you forget that, you can go back and look at the quadratic formula and figure it from there. So that is negative 16 divided by negative 4, which is 4. So x1 is 4, and so we need to find p of 4, which is negative 2, 4 squared plus 16 times 4 minus 24. And then this is 16, negative 32 plus 64 minus 24 minus 56. So we're going to have 8 left, $8,000. So max 8,000 is the maximum profit. Let me make sure I did that right. Okay, let's see. 4 squared, 16, negative 32, 64 minus 24, 40. Yep. Okay. So the maximum profit is 8,000. All right. So I hope that makes sense to you. It's important to know how to do word problems, because word problems are the reason we use math, really. I'm a big applied math guy. There are pure math people too, but for most of us in the world, we do math because we want to figure out. We want to know why something happened, or we want to predict. Well, we want to use math to do something else. And word problems are students always have the biggest problem with word problems, but word problems are the most important part, because if we can't do the word problem, then the math we're learning probably is not going to be useful for you unless you become a mathematician. If you might become a math guy, then it is. But for everything else, including writing computer programs, lots of math in computer programming, or becoming an engineer, lots of math in that, or becoming an accountant, some math, lots of statistics and stuff like that, for actuaries and things. But for most people, they want to know, how is math going to help them, and that word problem tells us how math is going to help us. So if you still have questions about this, get on to mrbowenglish.com and ask us. Thanks. See you later. Mr. Bo English รับสอนนักเรียนตั้งแต่ป .3 ขึ้นไปทางอินเทอร์เน็ตในสไตล์ EP ครับ ผู้สนใจช่วยติดต่อครูแจงหรือไปเว็บไซต์ที่ www.mrbowenglish.com